Hey guys, and welcome to part 5 of the Resident Evil 5 playthrough. Now, unfortunately, it's just going to be myself for a couple of parts, so yeah, insert the forever alone trope here. We now witness the fall of Cal Gaming. But joking aside, the boys, of course, Lee's still on his own break. Forgot all the stress he's got for the last couple of days. Colin is busy with his outside life at the moment, so like I said, it's just me for now. We're now on to chapter 2-3. This is the bit where it gets really action based, as you can see from this footage. Again, all you have to do is just kill these guys with the motorcycle, but watch out for the Molotov cocktails that they throw you, because the stun lock is... It's just one of those things you just don't want to deal with, because it's just that annoying. And this is when they start to throw lorries at the place. Well, vans, or whatever. And you can't. The way to do is to shoot the driver as best you can, because if you shoot the driver, then the vehicle will go on either go off in another direction, or it will tip on its side. And I think in the trophies list for the PS3 and PS4 versions, you'll get a trophy if you shoot the driver, like so. I'm in the top of the vehicle with the machine gun. Steven is down below me with the Gatling gun, handling all the motorcycles while I take care of the lorries. And if you play this chapter by yourself, actually, this is one, sometimes, depending on difficulty, the difficulty, the AI is actually not that bad when you play this chapter by yourself. It's very accurate, and it can get all the enemies, most of the enemies out of your way. So this is this is the one instance where the AI doesn't suck. Oh, he's gonna need a new set of wheels. Again, I don't get myself, why are these guys in motorcycles? This is not scary at all. So this is all you're doing you're just trying to get away from these guys as best you can. Occasionally moments they'll throw QTEs where you have to press the button, otherwise you're going to lose a chunk of health for some reason. Yeah, you lose health by just failing to do a draft. This is the last section of, before they go, this is the mid to last section where they throw two lorries at you. You gotta try and get both of them as best you can, because they'll try to damage your vehicle by damaging the sides, like so. So again, I'll be focusing on them, while Steven's gonna be focusing on the motorcycles behind us. These guys. There we go. If that lands, yeah, the LAN has exploded. Oh, the amount of times that me and Stevie do this this chapter, no matter what difficulty, it always gives us shit. Like, it's not like, this is one of the lucky times we had with this chapter, but most of the time at this section right here, we get to like 1/10 of our health left, which is not very good at all. Nice, man. Yeah, this is gonna be. You thought me and Colin were gonna be the quiet without Lee. Oh, it's gonna be even more quiet with me rumbling like an absolute moron, talking to myself. Yeah, the first time this guy rams you and tries to ram you into the river, you will take damage. There's no nothing you can do about that. So you gotta make sure your health is at least in the green, because if your health's in the red and he rams you into the river, gone. You have to do the whole thing again. And that's it. That is the chase. Now we move on to the next part of this chapter. I'm surprised they've not ran out of bullets on either of those guns, actually. Is that even possible? Well, he had no luck. Alright, moving on. This is a large-scale virus leak in the blah 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 blah.
What could have done this?
Oh, I don't know, Mrs. Alamar. Probably a deadly virus. You're in the world of Resident Evil, after all. There's no point checking him over me, he's already dead. Oh, no. Holy shit, it's the BFG! He's surely let himself go a bit. Now this villain is this type of villain was introduced in Resident Evil 4 as well, the El Gigante, big massive troll creature. Now unlike Resident Evil 4 where you have to fight this guy on the ground and like climb above him when he's injured, this one they decided to do the lazy approach where you have to use the machine guns from the back of the truck again.
Get to the truck.
No, Chris, it's get to the chopper! Well, he is an ugly... Yeah, you're right, Mrs. Almore. He is an ugly fucker. Right, the general strategy for this boss, keep shooting his head. It will stuck, and because the damage he does is really high. So see, when he's about to stomp your truck with his foot, you need to shoot his head, and occasional QTEs here and there. But here's the trick to the QTEs. Actually, this is a little trick. You would think that both of the players would have to press the button as soon as it pops up, but if just one player presses that QTE, both of them will successfully dodge the attack. Don't ask me how that works. And occasional books here and there, they throw flaming crowbars at you. Now this bit is tricky, the one where he picks up a boulder and he throws at you. What you've got to do is you've got to keep on shooting the boulder until it eventually dissolves. The main strategy is to again shoot them ahead, but then when these tentacle things pop out of his arms, you need to shoot them. They're essentially the weak spots. Then he goes all dazed up here. Now you need to shoot that big fuck me butt thing. As if it wasn't obvious enough. Yeah, those two at the corner can get a little bit annoying. Especially when you're trying to focus on the big threat. Again, and also for the thing about these Gatling guns is that if you hold down the fire button too long, they will overheat and you'll be left vulnerable to their recharged and cooldown. What to do is, instead of holding down the button, what to do is like not mash it, but occasional presses every time, like because again, if you hold it down, it will be overheated. If you fire at that rate, it won't be overheated, which means you can fire a lot more. This attack is when he picks up a pole. Again, he goes for the top player. Just avoid them, but keep on shooting them in the head until he eventually lets go of the pole. Like a last hit move right now, actually, is where he tries to hit the car, but again, aim for the head to stun him. And again, this will be exactly the same for the partner who's controlling the Gatling gun. Rock launch! Yeah, see? Yeah, that fuck ton of damage. Here we go with his pole again. And another tip. Always shoot the red barrels. Michael Bay was here. All systems, full power! And those two, they continuously spawn until the boss is over. This boss fight can drag a little bit long. It's because I think it just really depends on the difficulty. Like, sometimes he goes down when you shoot his main weak spot twice, sometimes he doesn't. Like this fight, me and Steven had to get him at least 3 times. And it made us drag on a little bit. Especially when he's got the 4 tentacles from his arms and not the 2. I mean, you just want to get the boss over and done with. So now, height. Again, if you don't want to be stomped by that big guy's smelly feet, just keep shooting his head. And yes, those are dead bodies of the BSAA agents of Delta Team that he's dangling on his belt. Ah, he's going for another boulder. Just keep shooting that boulder and we should be fine. Yes, that's it, shattered. That is just an earthquake stomp he tries to do, to shake your grip off the vehicle that you're on. And with this final hit, he should go down. Hopefully. Yep, that's him. And that is the end of the chapter. Essentially, that's just all it is for Chapter 2-3, a car chase and a boss fight. Well, that was something. Chris, I bet you this, as of now, when Chris saw this, he probably thought this was the most weirdest thing he's ever seen in his life. But then again, he's been fighting countless other unnecessary, freaky creatures since the very first time he went into that mansion.
What about you?
I've got a personal stake in this.
A personal stake? Chris, look around. We should both get the hell out of here.
I'm not here just for the mission.
What are you talking about?
A while back, I received some intel that my old partner was still alive. At first, I didn't know what to think. But when I saw the data file from Delta Team, I knew for sure. Jill is still alive.
Jill, she's dead.
What in the data file?
Chris, you're just hallucinating again. Have you been on the steroids again?
Partners.
The side effects.
Sure.
Wait!
By the way, why do you have your knife up above your back of your shoulder like some sort of sword?
Chris, wait!
I don't have much time. I have to find her.
I don't have much time. I need to get to Krispy Kreme's quickly. Sheva, they have a 50% deal on those donuts. I'm hungry.
Sure about this? A second ago, you were ready to cut and run.
I can't just turn my back and walk away.
There are no more orders from here on in. It's just us.
We're partners. To the end. Now let's get moving.
So now we're gonna go vigilante. Right, let's go in this boat that was just conveniently left here. Now before we go back into Chapter 3, we're going to enter a DLC chapter, Lost in Nightmares.
What happened to your partner?
Jill and I were pursuing a man named Albert Wesker. A few years ago, the BSAA received intel.
We're now into Lost in Nightmares. In the game, Lost in Nightmares is a DLC chapter which explains what happened to Jill here in the flashback of this mansion that we had in the first couple of cutscenes. So instead of Steven to help out with this chapter, I brought in another friend of mine, Abby. She loves Resident Evil as much as I do. Like, she won't stop talking about the newest at least the tiniest bit of new information regarding any Resident Evil, whether it's the games, the CGI movies, or if it's the live action shit movies, which I don't understand. I mean, I watched the 4th one, but then I stopped because it was just literally at that point where they just copied and pasted a certain scene from this game where I was like, no, they've ripped the press now.
Let's move.
So I'm still in control of Chris. Abby will be taking the role of Miss Valentine. And these DLC chapters, the way I've edited it is that I decided to put them in conjunction with the campaign. So normally when you get the game and you go into Lost in Nightmares, you have to enter a different menu, you have to create a different lobby if you want to have a partner along with you, and then you just play straight off the bat. What I've done is I've just edited the Lost in Nightmares into the campaign itself to make it like a movie.
What is it with this guy and cranks?
He's a man of refined taste.
He's obsessed. That's what he is.
And the score stars here, they just mean points and achievements. That's all it is. You don't get anything cool. What's cool about this Lost in Nightmares thing is that the weapon layouts and enemy layouts are completely random each time you play. So it's not like it's like, oh, you play this and then let's say handgun ammo is right here, but that body was up in the main door. It's not like that every time you play. Every time you play, it may be in a different location. You might get different weapons. You might not get any health at all. Plus, it also factors in depending on the difficulty you select as well. Now, yes, you can walk through the doors, or you could be a smart arse like me and just knife the doors and you won't have to constantly open the doors again. Little fun fact about this particular diary right here. The text and all that is exactly the same diary as the one in the first Resident Evil game and in the remake, where it ends with "Itchy Tasty." That's the one diary everybody keeps bringing up. Itchy Tasty. Off you go, Abby. At this point we have to split ways because only she can access that area. I have to wait until she unlocks the main door at the bottom floor. Lost in Nightmares is actually an enormous tribute to the first Resident Evil where, like from the design of this mansion, it just reminds you of the Spencer mansion from the first game. Like this and like even this dinner hallway, it's just almost exactly the same as the Spencer mansion. Blah, blah, blah. No one cares. Give me the password. Abby, you missed that score star! Again, because I've been playing this too many times, I tend to know off most of the stars layouts by heart. Just shows you how sad I am. Yes, a score star in the cubicle. That's freaky. And if anybody's asking why Jill's spazzing from time to time, it's because of the connection. Abby and I don't have the really best in terms of network broadband and all that, so but it's not game breaking. It just occasionally spazzes out from time to time. Now this puzzle right here, you have to replay the theme on the piano, Moonlight Sonata, which is actually a pretty good song, actually. Now, Chris unfortunately can't read music, but Jill can. She had to do this puzzle back in the remake and in the original game where she had to play a piano. And, again, she has to play this piano, open this door, and I have to shoot that big red button so she doesn't have to continuously play on the piano. Because from Abby's point of view, the piano sequence will be like a QTE event where she has to press the corresponding button as it appears on the screen. She screws that up, and then the door automatically closes and you have to do the whole piano sequence again. But what that big red button does is just, it completely skips that so she doesn't have to continuously play. And as you can see up there on the top right, that is the map. I explained it before. You press R1 to turn that on and off, keep an eye on where yourself and your partner is. Plus it may also reveal enemy locations depending on what type of enemy it is. Ooh, shiny. Must get. Now, if the amount of times that this is random, almost every time that table contains at least 2 flame grenades and 2 hand grenades. And that table right there where I just picked up the Magnum, sometimes it's a sniper rifle, and sometimes it's just a herb. Like I said, it's random every time you play and start a new lobby with this game. Well, this chapter anyway.
You bailed me out back there.
Now, what we have to do is we have to get 3 passwords, but we now have a heat-sensitive paper. What you have to do is you have to go all the way back to the dinner table, and then use the fire and burn that paper, and it will reveal the next password. But here's a funny glitch that you can do, but we don't show off here, is that if both of you go up to the fire, and then you both press the square button right here at the exact same time both of you, you can clip right through each other, and then you, for some reason, you'll both have the paper, that one paper in your hand. Game logic at its finest, folks. And I guess why they changed the camera to first person is when you open the door is because is to give you a flashback or a nostalgia feeling to the first Resident Evil. Fun fact, actually, if you go and examine the main door 3 times, it could switch the camera to be just like the classics where they were fixed on the corners. But you don't get time control, so it's a little bit awkward to control when you get that camera set up. But you can immediately reset the camera back to third person when you go back to the door again. Here's our next trap. Abby has to go in there and initiate the trap, while she has to shoot the lock of the door that I'm standing right behind, and now in order to pull a crank that will stop the trap and then set her free. But in that room that she's trapped in, there's a specific crank that we need to get down to the lower levels of the mansion, so we can continue on. Pretty simple when you know what to do. Here's where this chapter introduces its exclusive enemy in here. The only type of enemy you find in this chapter anyway. It doesn't really have an official name, but I'm just going to refer to it as the Blob, right here, where it behaves like the Executioner, but instead the weak spot is on the back, on its eyeball on the back. The general strategy is to get him from behind and continuously shoot that eye until it goes down, like so. Easy. What makes this enemy a unique bit of a threat is that if it grabs you, usually when an executor grabs you, it tosses you onto the ground, and then you can break free of it. These guys, however, they don't allow you to break free, and it's insta kill if they grab you. Where that big axe they carry, they shove it up your body, and you're dead. Very gruesome. Off you go, Miss Valentine. Now open the door for me, or you're not getting any coffee or tea, biscuits, whatever, when we get finished this mission. That's us coming up to the end of this part, and we'll continue on with Lost in Nightmares in part 6. See you then, folks.